Guys, I'm Fernando Machado. I'm the CMO for NotCo. I'll be talking a little bit about NotCo in a second. Before NotCo, I was the CMO for Activision Blizzard. I know that Tyler was here earlier this morning. I don't know who was here. Like, Tyler is awesome talking about Call of Duty. We work together on Activision Blizzard. Trying to catch up with him later today. Before Activision Blizzard, I spent a little bit over 7 years on RBI. That's Burger King, Popeyes, and Tim Hortons. And before that, I spent a lifetime in Unilever. I was in Unilever for 18 years. I know it sounds like very long when I say that out loud, but it was moving companies, moving brands, so it never felt that long. So I'm here to talk about partnerships, right? I mean, and how like great partnerships are born or built. Um, to be honest with you, like I think I have had throughout my career great experience and not so great experience when it comes to doing partnerships. And I think that one of the key things I've learned, and it sounds pretty damn obvious, but like when you're doing a partnership, the two brands needs to be like-minded, or they should kind of like understand what each side will have to offer as a benefit. It's not uncommon that you have like, oh yeah, like this brand has these strengths and these weaknesses, this brand has these strengths and these weaknesses, and then in the end of the day, you end up like with the two weaknesses in the mix and not really like the strengths of the two brands. Yeah, oh yeah, that's my slide. I will skip that because I already spoke about that. So NotCo. NotCo is a company that was born around 8 years ago. It's a food tech company valued at $1.5 billion. And basically like what we do is we use an AI that we created internally to create elevated plant-based food. So we managed to match an animal target like in a fraction of the time that a consumer goods company would do. As an example, like today, if you go to a Shake Shack in the US, both the custard and the shake, they are NotCo products. They're co-branded NotCo. It took us 3 weeks to get to the prototype of the product. Like that on my Unilever days would probably take like 2 years in a normal time frame to develop the same type of work. So we try to do things in a much more efficient way, in a much faster way, and that's why we have so many partnerships, right? I mean, I did speak about Shake Shack, but we also have Starbucks, we have Daily Provisions, Joe's Coffee, Dunkin', 9 different countries with Burger King across Latin America, and we are always like trying to find partners to do things. I kind of like touched on that, right? I mean, the 2 plus 2 plus 5, which is what you should be aiming for in terms of partnerships. One of the key partnerships we have is with Kraft Heinz. Like here in the US, we have a joint venture with them, and we are doing every single one of their products, the plant-based version of every single one of their products. So imagine like a Philadelphia cream cheese, we are doing the plant-based version of that. Same for Oscar Mayer, same for Kraft cheese, same for absolutely every single one of their key brands. And why we are doing that, right? I mean, remember what I said, the strengths and weaknesses and trying to combine strengths. Like in the case of Kraft Heinz, I mean, they have amazing brands, right? When I say NotCo in the US, most people don't know what NotCo is, but if you see a Philadelphia cream cheese, you know what Philadelphia cream cheese is. So it comes with like credentials, right? So they have very strong brands. They have an amazing distribution. Like, I don't know which companies you guys are in, or most of you at least, but it's really difficult and painful to gain distribution in the US when you're a startup. And if you have a partnership with Kraft Heinz, that has a massive muscle in terms of building distribution. And scale, you know, like everything is cheaper. Like when I compare my costs with the cost that Kraft Heinz has for their ingredients, for manufacturing, for distribution, is much lower on their side. What do we offer, right? We offer technology, which they don't have at the same level as we do. We offer a startup mindset, and we offer boldness. And that sounds like silly, but it's really important. You know, we have a separate, almost like a separate business unit that manages these products. And I am leading marketing together with some people from Kraft Heinz and together with some people from NotCo. And even when we decided which agencies we are going to work with, we decide, it's not the Kraft Heinz agency. You know, when we brief, it's like we brief, it's not Kraft Heinz briefing. Because naturally, and I'm not criticizing that, but it gets more of like a traditional model. Like it gets more like business as usual. And what you're trying to do here is not business as usual. So even like the type of advertising that you're doing, it has much more of like a NotCo vibe, like being a challenger, being bold, than the classic Kraft Heinz advertising. Though Kraft Heinz is getting better and better when it comes to that too. I will show you guys one example. I hope the sound works. It's like a minute and a half video. It's the campaign that we are using to launch Not Mayo, which is our plant-based mayo, which is developed together with Kraft Heinz. Everything we do, we need to cut through the clutter. You know, like one thing that I always repeat for my team is that basically, like, people don't give a shit about anything that you do. Like, you need to do things that will command attention. You know, you need to capture people's imagination and capture people's attention. A quote that I love from Bill Bernbach. Bill Bernbach is the B from DDB. He's one of the founders from DDB, and he used to say that if your advertising goes unnoticed, everything else is academic. And I truly believe on that. You know, so we are trying to bring that in into the equation, into the partnership that we're doing with Kraft Heinz. It's not easy. You know, like I used to get so frustrated when I was at Burger King because people wanted to partner with us, and then we would come up with ideas, and then the partner would back out and not wanting to do, and wanted to do some silly, lame idea that was not good at all. And I was like, why the hell did they want to partner with us? You know, like I remember we did the Upside Down Whopper, which was a partnership with Netflix. And it was literally like just putting the fucking sandwich upside down and serving, like there was nothing. But I wanted to do on the app, I wanted to do a limited time offer that would only appear if you flick the menu upside down on the app, and then a tire would slide and it would appear. And the guys didn't want to do it. To this day, I still don't know why was that. Another example, which I learned with this one, that sometimes you're talking to the wrong people. You know what I mean? Like many times, like when I was at BK, and even when I was in Activision, I was talking to the partnership people of the other company, when actually I would much prefer to talk with the marketing people and the partnership people, because many times the partnership people they just want to close the partnership and run with your money or with the space that you have in the restaurant. That's how they are going to get their bonus target. While the marketing people usually want to do that, but also want to do cool stuff. So I remember that we did a partnership with Sony for the launch of the PlayStation 5. I don't know if you guys are gamers or if you remember that, but it was pretty damn hard to get a PlayStation 5 when it was launched. And we had like, I don't know, like 1,000 of them to do a promo. It was a sweepstake. And we wanted to do an ad to announce the partnership and the promo. And the idea of the ad was like the king would have this big bag and he would open, and the blue light that appears when you turn the PlayStation 5 would light the crown. Like this is just a frame of the film. And we wanted to have the sound of the PlayStation 5 when you turn it on, which sounds like silly, but it's a big deal if you are a gamer. Like if a new console is coming, what sound is going to make when you turn the console on? And the partnership team was like, no. They was like, guys, like, but do you have any plan to launch the sound? Or like, no, but we don't want you to review our sound. I'm like, well, but if you're not revealing, like, why can't I do it? So it was like this stupid back and forward with the partnership team until I got the phone of the CMO for PlayStation 5 at Sony and spoke to him. He was like, yeah, I think it's a fucking awesome idea. Let's do it. And we did it. So the point is, talk to the right people. Share target audiences, I think, is really important. Like at Burger King, we knew that our customers or our guests, they over-index as gamers. And we also knew that gamers over-index on delivery for obvious reasons, right? I mean, they're playing at home. And that's why we had a whole stream of work that was around partnership with games. And when Call of Duty launched, and I put this example because I thought that Tyler could be here, but when the Call of Duty launched like last year, which was Modern Warfare 2, we did a partnership with Burger King, and we created an operator, which is like a skin, that would be only available if you buy a combo at Burger King. For some reason, Burger King US decided not to do it. Stupid. And we did in all Europe, Latin America, and all that. And it was so successful that people in Europe were going to the restaurants, buying the combo, getting the ticket with the operator, with the code, and selling it on eBay to the American people who couldn't buy it. And they would sell it for more than $30. The game costs $70, so it was going for almost half of the price of the whole game. A free operator that you could get with a combo. If you don't believe on what I'm saying, I don't have time to show the film here, but if you don't believe what I'm saying, Google Burger King operator Modern Warfare 2, and there are loads of articles talking about that, on how people, like I have a picture in Brazil of a guy that went and bought 100 combos and told the cashier, I don't want the sandwich, just give me the codes. And that's what I told them, guys, if you strike the right target audience with the right combination of brands, with the right promo, you will be printing money with this. And that's what many Burger King markets did when they did that promotion. I will skip this one. Yeah, and look, and sometimes it's about hacking it too. And this is an example that I really love. I hope I have time to show it. It's a 2-minute film. But again, coming from the fact that we knew our consumers love gaming, and I had lots of franchisees when I was at BK saying, why don't we sponsor the World Cup? Like I think that there are some FIFA guys here, so I need to be careful with what I say. But like, why don't you sponsor the World Cup? Like, first, I didn't have the money. It was a multiple of my entire budget. Second, I think McDonald's sponsored the World Cup already and the Olympics, so I couldn't do it. And they were like, oh, why don't you sponsor Neymar or Cristiano Ronaldo? I'm like, guys, I don't have this money. I think you don't understand like what my budget is, right? But we knew that our consumers loved gaming, and we knew that they were into sports. So we had to put our heads together to figure out ways to be part of the conversation, be part of culture. And then even when we couldn't do a real partnership, we created one, we hacked into it, and then later on it became a partnership. Here's a really cool case study. I will show it to you guys, a 2-minute one. So after doing that, like we did do a couple of partnerships with EA, because they looked at us and like, oh, these guys get it. You know, like when I was on Activision, people want to do partnerships. They were like, oh, we want to put a billboard inside of Call of Duty. And I'm like, no one wants that as a gamer. You know, it's a very different dynamic if you're playing video games. But anyway, yeah, must be authentic. This is pretty obvious. Like I remember like having a discussion around like when we launched Diablo 4, which is a game that I worked on the launch, and we launched it like a couple of months ago for Blizzard. And people wanted like, oh, let's have a celebrity, let's have Taylor Swift. I'm like, well, that will be the easiest way for people to destroy Diablo, because Taylor Swift, as much as she's so powerful, but she has nothing to do with Diablo. She doesn't play Diablo. So we partnered with Halsey, who was already talking about Diablo, who had that song named as the main evil on Diablo, which is Lilith. And this thing ended up like becoming a video clip that reached the #1 on the Billboard. The team worked on that after I left, so kudos to Caleb and Todd Harvey, who continue to push the partnership with Halsey. But if it's not authentic, like people can sniff the lack of authenticity from far away. So just to wrap it up, you know, I'm always looking for 2 + 2 = 5, and trying to leverage the best of the two. I know it sounds really obvious, but gravity will pull the companies to the weaknesses. You know, like it's very common that you join 2 companies and then you have the worst of the 2 instead of like the best of each one. Doing stuff that cuts through the clutter is critical. Share target audiences is really important too. You know, like people would come to us on Activision Blizzard and say like, oh yeah, but like my consumer doesn't play video game. Like, no, they do. Like, they may not play Call of Duty, they may play Candy Crush. Like, everyone plays something. So you need to find what's the game that's right for you. You need to find what brand is right for your brand in terms of partnerships. Hack if needed. That's a very Burger King and NotCo mentality. And obviously, it must be authentic, because if it isn't, people are going to sniff out that very quickly. That's all I had for you. And I know it was a bit of a speed date, but I want to give some space for the fireside chat too. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.